1 hour training goal. Give me some like...
Are you stressed? Are you frustrated? What happened today? Are you okay?
Your mind plays tricks on you
Every day,
completely.
at the same time.
You can't fix something that you can't even admit to.
Remove them from your life and move on.
Bye! 70% of people are in survival mode, in stress mode.
I feel like an abject failure.
About sexual experiences. Did I really do that?
Turn away my shot.
Am I gonna be remembered for watching 1 hour on a Netflix series? Or am I gonna be remembered creating my legacy?
All you have from day to day is the current. You cannot live in the past. You live now.
Alright, cool. Another day, another discussion. We're back today with a very special guest. Arguably the best guest we've ever had on Good Vibes Only. Camera on you. David the Tooley's back.
Honestly, I just talk shit. I don't even no, I'm honored to be here, and I'm really happy to, I guess, spit some more truth, I suppose.
Fam, last time, if you lot have seen it, this guy, how he articulates himself, the authenticity, the genuine. You know, I gassed you up last time. I have to come again, innit? Because I love just how this guy carries himself. So I left a very big, deep, meaningful topic for Atuli today. We're gonna look into it slowly, and yeah, debunk this, you know, as best as we can.
I can only hope to rise to the occasion.
And there's no pressure here. We're all relaxed, cool. So it's just kind of involving like the brain, you know, how we think, you know, our mind. I feel like there's not really a lot of emphasis on the importance of how we think, right? And, you know, the well-being of our mind, our mentals. You know, if you see someone fat, or, you know, work out, you know, lose weight physically, you're not really healthy, obese. But there's no emphasis on if your brain's rotten, you know, the way you think, how you articulate yourself. There's not really emphasis on that. So I kind of want to look into that today. Yeah, so Tula, I don't think us as a generation understand the effects of dealing with like previous problems, you know, we could possibly say trauma. I know I touched upon that before. Just any sort of hardship, you know, mentally wise, you know. I just think about, you know, our brains are like tape recorders. So we're seeing so much different things every day. We're taking it in. But I don't think we really address the problems, right? The difficult moments. And I feel like this can have a lot of effects mentally. You know, obviously we know mental health is very, very common. It's like you're surprised that someone hasn't got a mental health thing. What would you say about that? You know, the importance of addressing difficult hardships that you experience, you know, in your mind?
I think it's definitely an important area to address. I mean, like, the fact that you've gone through this hard, difficult situation, right? This trauma of the mind. You need to actually, I think the society, one of its major flaws is that everyone is trying to hustle, right? And that's not a bad thing. It's never a bad thing to hustle. But there's always a time and a place for everything, right? I feel like everyone prioritizes hustling, working.
But neglect like self-love.
They're gonna self-care, self-love.
Yeah.
Self-reflection. And when you have trauma and you experience it, like you said, we're like tape recorders. We go through so much, we experience and take in so much. But if you don't sit down and conciliate, or, you know, kind of recapitulate your thoughts,
and kind of just reflect and say like, you know, why did this happen? Or did I really, you know, some people experience things and after they were like, I didn't actually like how this happened.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But it might take them a few times. They don't really realize it in the moment. Like, if I ask yourself now, how do you normally deal with these things? I know we spoke before, we have quite a similar way of that. What would you say about that?
So, regarding how to deal with that, usually it is going to be like, maybe at stupid o'clock, because, you know, I sleep well. Basically, just in the middle of the darkness, just in my living room, just sit down and think. Ask yourself how the day went. And really ask the question. Don't run away from it. Like, genuinely ask, did you enjoy what you did today? Do you feel like you fulfilled your goals and your kind of missions for your operation? I say operation, I'm being too formal. I mean, like, your activity, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you gave your best? Did you enjoy it? What could be improved? What could be done better? By taking these kind of steps and to think about what you've experienced and how it's impacted you, you're better positioned to change the future. So it's better, and only in the upward direction.
Yeah, from what it sounds like, it's very similar to me. It's kind of like that active learning style where you say, okay, cool, this event happened. Let's just look into it a bit more. Let's understand. And a lot of people like to suppress it, right? Yeah. Let's not think about it. Let's out of mind, out of sight.
Yeah.
what do you think? And I know we're both against this, but what do you think's like the effect of that, right? Because it comes back to bite you in the end, right?
Yeah, usually it's explosion. Usually you just explode, right? When you're angry and you bottle it up.
So much bottled up mentally, yeah. Continue,
I mean, like, literally, like, it's all bottled up as in there and stuff. If you don't use it as a, get it out of you, it will get out at some point, right?
Yeah.
And it could be you just lashing out at family members, right? Who didn't do anything to warrant that kind of anger, but there you are.
That deflection, sort of.
Precisely.
You hear it a lot. People experiencing some sort of emotion and they deflect it even unconsciously on other people, right?
Exactly.
Their anger or they're very intense, and other people feel the wrath of that.
Precisely.
Completely agree. Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, when I'm at home and I don't know, my parents come from a stressful day and they start shouting at me and stuff as well. Not that they're bad people or anything. It's just that, they could be angry, something could have frustrated them or something of the sort. I don't necessarily reply to them. I just stay silent. And I look at them. I read what their body's telling me, because your body language speaks first before your words.
Completely agree, yeah.
And then you can see it, exactly what's happening to them. And then you can actually ask the question, are you stressed? Are you frustrated? What happened today? Are you okay? Once you start taking the deeper meaning of the words and seeing the intention behind it, you lose this kind of kiddie kind of mentality of trying to bite back at the other person. Like, oh, they insult me, so I have to insult them.
Definitely, fire with fire, yeah, just make things worse. As opposed to just
solving the problem, being like, wait, something's not right here. Why? What's going on?
So how you think's very like similar to me, and we can touch upon that. Very like methodological. How do you say that?
Methodical.
Yeah, it's like Facardia. Back to those words, but yeah, exactly like that. In a very logical process, where we're thinking, cool, this has happened. I can see someone's experienced this sort of thing. How can we address it? Yeah. You're not really going in tune with your emotions and fighting back and saying, oh, they're angry, let me do that. What good is that? Do you understand? Yeah. Active learning in terms of progressing and solving a dilemma or even an issue.
Precisely.
It doesn't really get you anywhere. So,
do you know what? That's a place I still need to actually improve on. I mean, like, I still struggle. Like, I'm no one's perfect, right? I mean,
completely agree. Yeah.
And I spend a lot of time nowadays trying to just take a step back and not really reacting, but just trying to be like, well, I don't understand where you're coming from, or like, I want to understand, I want to do better. And maybe it's just my ethos. I always say to my friends and stuff that I always strive to be better than the man I was the day before, because it's completely so agree. Important.
Even me with the things I post, are you stronger than you were yesterday?
Yeah.
We're exactly the same, and that's why I had to bring you through for this one. I just completely agree, man. If we touch back on that, like, if I look at myself now, and I know you can jump in at any moment, because I think we have very similar ways of dealing with things. For me, if I've experienced something difficult, I'll just take a moment in it. It can be anywhere, even like I just shut the door, go in my room, just breathe in it.
Yeah.
I just sit there, I breathe. I'm like, okay, so I can't really, in this situation, this environment, I can't think straight. So let me just take myself out of a situation. It might be go in the garden, might be just, make sure I'm alone. Cool, I'm there now. Just relax, even massage my mind here. Just breathe and say, okay, so what happened? Why am I feeling this certain way? So I might feel anxious. Why am I feeling anxious? Okay, I'm feeling anxious because, I'm unsure of the future. I'm not, I want this to work out a certain way, right? I want this to represent me as fully as I can. I want to make the correct decisions. I want to be true to myself. I'm sitting here and I think now, okay, so what can I do in this moment, right? What can I do to better myself, to ensure that I do the best, and when that time comes, I'm in the best position I can? Well, maybe I can plan for something, maybe I can, and most times it's just irrational thinking. It's like, as I said to you earlier, imposter syndrome. Like, I might question, am I good enough to do something? Well, if I've done it before, and if it's, I felt like it's gone really well, and I watch it, or even a podcast, I watch back and say, that was, I was speaking some good things there, then I know I'm good enough. It's not about what anyone else says. It's just your mind plays tricks on you sometimes, and this is what I want to kind of touch upon.
It's true. I mean, like, I don't know. You mentioned something really good, actually. Taking yourself out of the environment. If you're not really in a position to think well, and, maybe you're stressed out, maybe, someone says something to you, or, your family members, as all families will experience, gets on your nerves.
Yeah.
it may be to your advantage just to get yourself out of that situation. You mentioned going to your room. My method is similar, but I take a walk. And usually, how it starts is, of course, you're still angry, right? Say someone insulted you and it really hurt you personally. You'd be angry.
Yeah.
So when I go on my walks, right, and I'm angry, I'd go on a walk, and it starts with the anger, but I just get out and be like, why am I angry? Because this and this and this. Because of this reason, because this person said this to me, and stuff of the sort. But then I go deeper. So, whenever I introspect, I do this thing where I ask myself, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Now, it's so easy for us to blame other people. To blame other situations that
Look elsewhere, isn't it?
Exactly. Make someone else the villain of your story.
Victim blaming.
Victim blaming.
Yeah.
But I feel like the more effective solutions is to understand, no, they're not the problem. It's how I react to them that's the problem. Why am I reacting this way? Put yourself as the subject of the thought process as opposed to everyone else, and you will find that you can find the thing that's actually stopping you or impeding your ability to stay calm.
Completely agree. I just think it's the importance of introspection. A lot of people don't really look inside themselves and ask themselves these difficult, very touchy questions where they're like, leave your ego at home, bro. Put your ego to one side and say, like, for me to be better, I might have to admit that I made a mistake here, or I'm not, best suited for this, and it doesn't matter now. It's about how I'm going to improve. And with us two, we're very like, we leave our egos to one side and say, okay, cool, we've made a mistake. We're not the best at this, but we're gonna be better. And this is the underlining feeling of self-improvement, and knowing that once you admit, you can't know there's something wrong, or you can't fix something that you can't even admit to being wrong or problem, sort of. See what I mean? A lot of people, as we said, link back victim blaming. So, they did this to me, so I should feel like this. Okay, so then you agree with that?
Yeah, see, that's exactly the problem, right? The moment you start victim blaming, you're obviously going to agree with yourself. So you're obviously going to be like, oh yeah, they're the bad guy.
It kind of just puts your mind at ease. You just feel like, I have a reason for this now. I can feel this certain way. I'm excused.
Precisely. But instead of, again, don't run from the questions. Ask yourself the deeper questions. Why? Is there something wrong with me? Did I sleep well? I find that when I get really angry at people, it's most commonly associated to when I get less than my preferred hours of sleep, which is 8 to 9 hours.
Yeah.
My life of sleeping.
Yeah.
So that's what I tend to find. But then I also do something else. I don't know if you do this too. When I go on my walks and I start with anger, like I already said, and I get that out and I introspect whilst walking, I also start saying or thinking about what I'm thankful for.
Gratitude.
Gratitude is really, really, really powerful because, just being grateful for what you have around you, well, one, makes you realize your privilege. How privileged you are that you are still even alive. And two, the fact that, yes, they annoy you. The people who've annoyed you annoy you, but if they're close to you, if they're your friends, your family, they are also very important to you.
Definitely.
So it allows you to get away from just like, I'm hurt, I want to be defensive, I want to fight everyone. And then that allows you to see the bigger picture, which is what we all need to do. That's the goal of introspection.
Completely agree. And we're going to touch upon meditation as well, possibly in a bit. I was going to say self-improvement, the gratitude training. I'm going to talk about gym. I'm going to talk about these few things in a podcast soon come. Self-improvement for all you young boys out there. So exactly what Atulu touched upon, and we'll probably look into it a bit more. You need to be very grateful and level-headed and saying like, yes, this is a difficult time. This is something this emotional state which I don't like. I'm not myself. I'm not processing effectively in the state. But I'm very grateful for these things that I have, and that's very, very important. We're going to continue. There's this thing called emotional refractory period. I don't know if you've heard about that term before. I will tell you more. It's very interesting. I know you saw that video I sent you as well. That video, man. I listened to it. I've watched that video a few times, and I remember anecdote here now. Yeah, for all you lot. And I remember a day before my birthday, I was listening to that thing. Obviously, me. I do my workouts. I'm doing my pull-ups now, and I'm listening to it. And as I'm there, I felt tears. Like I was literally like crying, bro, like because of how beautiful and the words he was saying how it resonated so much with my brain. I was like, this is, this life we live is so beautiful, bro. In that terms of once you understand your mind and how powerful it is, and know that it's a sanctuary, right? You need to look after your mentals, and that's why, I do meditation often. I don't know about you. We can touch upon that quickly, but just if we run back quickly, the refractory period, it's basically this idea of how long are you going to be in that emotional state for, right? So when you feel angry or anxious, how long is it? The winners, the people who are effective with their days, shorten it as much as they can. As we said, we don't see how it links back. We don't suppress it. This has happened. Me straight away, I feel a certain way. Cool. Breathe. Why is it happening? Let me talk. Okay, what can I do now? How can I do it? Is it irrational thinking? How can I? What's my next move? Yeah, that's how we do it. A lot of people obviously don't do that, but something common that maybe we haven't even acknowledged is the shorter period. When we shorter that time period, the more time it gives us to be effective in that zone, right, for our days. Yeah. So have you had an experience of that? Just
all the time. Like when I get really, when I get angry, it's going to be in the home environment mostly because these are the people who you live with. They are.
But you don't dwell on it, right? You try your best to minimize. As soon as I
get insulted, I throw it away. It's not really it's not going to stick on me.
See, and unconsciously you didn't even know that, but that's how your brain works. Yeah. The key is for everyone is to really shorten the refractory period of being in that emotional state, because as we know, if you're in an emotional state, annoyed, sad, whatever, it's your mood, right?
Yeah.
And your mood, everyone's like, oh, why are you upset? Because I'm in a mood. There's girls in a mood for days, bro.
Yeah.
Days. I mean,
no, I'm not in the mood, or they use the abbreviation. So well, yes, I mean we get that, but what are you doing to beat it? And how long is it going to take? The refractory period, right? Once more, I don't know. The more time you spend thinking about, I can't believe this person did this to me, you're wasting time. And I think maybe this is just me, but maybe I think about death a bit too much. Mostly because I spend every day thinking oh my god, have I spent my time wisely? I'm only 22, but at the same time, I can already acknowledge the fact that I will not be on this earth once my time is up, and that really hits home for me because
completely the same.
You can't spend your time getting angry at someone because they said something a month ago, right? You can't spend that time. If they are consistently getting you angry, remove them from your life and move on.
Bye, have a beautiful time.
Completely agree.
Reliving the same experiences in the past, otherwise you will never see the future you want to realize.
That is what you just said is such beautiful words. Literally, if we just touch upon quickly, just before that, how would you say is the best way for someone to deal with that? They feel very in their emotions a lot.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to them?
So go for a walk, get out of the environment that makes you feel the negative emotion, and get that initial pure white rage out of yourself.
As soon as you can.
Do a speed walk. Do that workout, right? Get out of the
just
environment.
Remove yourself from the environment.
Either remove yourself from the environment or utilize it in another way. Your anger can be useful in boxing, for example, when you're sparring or when you're doing pad work.
Completely agree.
Get it out of your system. The moment you can, and you can think clearly, the second step comes in, which is to basically rationalize. What could I have done better? What happened? What could I have done better? And what would I do next?
Definitely.
Once you've answered these 3 questions, enact it.
Facing your demons head on as well.
Face the demons head on.
Rather than I'm feeling a certain type of way, trying to beat around the bush, just say it how it is. As we said, leave your ego at home. Just because you're seeing everyone doing well and everything, it's a facade, man. And I said it right this time. That word.
Oh,
literally, it's not what it seems like. Do you understand? And the people who are experience hardships are probably not even really talking much on them.
Precisely.
So it's just you owe it to yourself to address these things head on and, move forwards, right? Because that's the best way to do it. You spoke about being your body being in the past.
Yeah.
That was such an interesting thing. I want to touch upon that a bit more.
Sure.
What it basically was referring to is, cool. Now let me pick my words
Take your time.
carefully for this one. Yeah. So your mind doesn't know the difference between an imaginary experience and a real life experience. So let me explain. you think of anxiety. Yeah, you think of an anxious situation that could happen in the future, right? So I could think of, what's going to happen in a year's time? What position am I going to be in? Is this podcast going to blow? Something like that. And now, all of a sudden, my heart's racing a bit more. I'm maybe breathing a bit more. Stomach might turn.
Yeah.
So your body doesn't know the difference between a virtual experience and something that's going on. So you would act the same way. Your mind thinks that, I'm in that anxious situation in a year's time when you're in the present. So now if we bring this back, and you can probably resonate with this and it'll start to click. You're sleeping now, you wake up, the first thing you think of is, that person did me wrong. That bad past experience, your body, your mind is now in the past. Can you understand that you're living a new day? Anything's possible. You're meant to be present. And I always touch upon this. It's very important to try and be as present as you can, in your days, and really breathe and take it in that I'm alive today and I'm going to do the best today. But everyone's minds, and this is a stat, 70% of people are in survival mode, in stress mode. They live their lives. 70% of their lives are lived in stress. Yeah. Can you understand the problem with our generation and everyone? It's a pandemic. It's a problem, bro. Worldwide, it's crazy.
The worst bit is, although that's such a big number and a big proportion, it doesn't surprise me. It does not surprise me.
It doesn't for me either. We're living in survival mode. How can we be the best versions of ourselves if 70% of our lives are in stress and survival mode? Very intense, very, very heated, very emotional based. Because, as I said, you wake up and, we spoke about gratitude journaling and stuff like that. You should wake up and you should say, I watch this YouTuber called Hamza, yeah, big up, self-improvement, one of the best people out there at the moment, wakes up, journaling, what are you grateful for today? Your goals for today, in the present. But majority of people, and we've all been guilty of this as well, acting like we're saints or something, but you wake up and you think, I didn't like that experience before, that thing's still annoying me. You're in the past, and when your mind's in the past and you're in survival mode, how can you expect yourself to flourish today?
Exactly.
Crazy, eh?
Which is why I kind of I love prayer. So for those who know me on a personal level or in real life, I suppose, they know that I come from a family of Christians and I thereby Christian. But at the same time, I spend my time praying. But when I pray, yes, I pray to the divine and that realm, I suppose. But I also pray to myself.
Yeah, completely agree.
One, to be grateful, and two, to actually do the things I want to do. I want to achieve this, and this by today. It reminds me of what I need to do and what are the unnegotiables are for my day. It's unnegotiables. Yeah, that's why I brought you on. Completely the same. Your prayer is my you pray. My prayer is technically my meditation. We do very similar things. What do we want to achieve? Let's get into that headspace. Being present, being grateful. It's very similar, and I'd advise anyone to meditate. I think it's been like a life changing for me. I just it's not too much people look into or some form of yoga. It's just that time period where you're switching your phone off, you're alone, you're present. Yeah, you're so present that you just lie there, close your eyes, even massage your head a little bit, and just breathe and say, self-affirmations people can say. You just look in that introspection. That's all it really is. Even when you said it's introspection. You look into yourself and say, okay, how am I feeling? Just you're talking to yourself, and that's the best form of self-love you can do. And I know it sounds so easy and whatever, but when you're going to work 9 to 5 and you're doing this and things are all over the place, when do you ever get time for yourself? Precisely. We're not asking for a huge time commitment. I mean, it's just on your commute. You're on a train for a moment. Take a moment. Close your eyes, assuming you're not sleeping. I fell asleep while doing this.
Yeah.
But close your eyes. Think about it for a second. What's making? Are you still angry? Why are you? Is it because of that one thing? What will you do to resolve it? And is it important enough to waste time?
Perfectly said. Yeah, looking at something holistically. Is it trivial things? Why are we so, as a society? Why do you think we're so immersed in these small things that don't matter? For example, go to the shop. Maybe they haven't got a sign you don't want in stock. Next thing you know, you're having a tantrum with the person. Why couldn't you do that? Okay, if that was me, I'd be like, okay, hi, excuse me, like, have you got this? Oh, no problem. Oh, thank you so much for helping me.
Exactly.
You know, I'll resolve it now and maybe go to another shop. But other people are sitting there 20, 30 minutes deflecting their anger of their bitter lives on others. That's what it comes down to, right?
It's more the case that they have an expectation that's not being met and they're frustrated by it, so they deflect onto another person. I'm going to not say deflect, I'll say project. They project their disappointment onto the other sellers or vendors, right? Say, if we take the shop example, and this always confused me. Those people who don't know the Karens, we know. Right, but...
Throw on the screen now.
But, like, you know, we know a Karen or two. But it always confuses me how they are like, oh, I wanted it this way, and, you know, I'm so surprised you did it this way, and it's not what I expect from you guys. I expect you to do as I say, when I say, and it really bothers me because it's like, who gives a... Who cares? Why do you spend so... I mean, take what you get, right? And if it's not to your expectations, find a remedy.
Completely agree.
Why waste time arguing with someone who may not even be able to provide you the answer you want
Completely
to see?
agree.
You see this
solving something
in the
there.
environment, and it's
Yeah, speaking so much sense. Just having a problem, solving it straight.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, this has happened now. What can I do? Very, you know, that's a good trait, especially in men, that we're not getting into our emotions. You know, it's very attractive for women that we're problem solvers. We have a problem, cool. How can we address it? Just touching back quickly, do you think those Karens or those people in a very high emotional state, do you think they have underlying issues? Possibly, do they not understand how powerful their mind is? Because if you loved yourself... and you realize and you think rationally and you think, okay, cool, I've experienced this emotion or this situation numerous times, it's resulted in this way, okay, cool, rationally thinking, everything should be alright, I should go to sleep in my bed safe and sound. Tomorrow's a new day. Do you think these people have issues? Do you think they don't understand their mind?
I think it's not
lacking meditation, maybe?
I don't think it's necessarily an issue with their mental health, their mental kind of... No, let me try
capacity.
Mental capacity, that's what I was reaching for. It's more the case that they don't take on the philosophy. Because some people can love themselves as much as you do, or I do, right? But it's more the case of, well, what's the philosophy behind your self-love? Is it that everyone should bend to your whim and will, and if not, then it's okay for you to go no holds barred and scream at them for an hour? I've seen this happen. Or is it, is it more the case that they should take the time to think about why they are angry the way they are? They could have issues at home, which is more than acceptable. But some people simply act that way because that's their form of self-love, is to actually inflict pain on others. Like, I don't know. It's a bit weird to me. Some people actually like the idea of making people feel like crap. Or, they like the idea of them having that kind of power over people.
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of sad seeing that. Because, again, I'm just talking from personal experience. It's not a factual thing, but I mean, basically, in summary, I think these people lack a certain kind of philosophy that allows them to progress further in life than they are currently. I feel like they keep themselves in a convenient present where they just complain about a problem. And I really don't like complainers because, all they do is complain. They don't really do something about it. And that's
completely agree.
Where I stand with Karens, really.
Speaking so much. So not just for Karens, but for everyone, of course. Speaking so much facts, I completely agree. And that's the main reason why I brought you on. If I look at myself quickly, I feel like before I really started to find myself and like fall in love with myself and become this version, obviously I wasn't always like this. A lot of people would tell me, and then looking back, that I would kind of complain a lot. Like I was one of those people that I'm the victim because I'm thinking something's happened, I technically didn't do it to myself, but if I look back on my head now and I can say this in hindsight, I didn't want the responsibility, or it was easier for me. It was the answer to say they did it. So now I don't feel guilty in myself for being like this because it wasn't my fault. And that is the same thing that people experience over and over and over. That victim mentality. How you owe it to yourself not to be a victim. How long can you be a victim for? Until you want better. Think about it. It's your life. I'm gonna play the victim. There's so many. how long until you get beaten down, or you have to stand on your own 2 feet and say, I need to take control of my life and responsibility? Do you think a lot of people do that this day and age?
I feel like, people stand up and take responsibility of all their lives and stay accountable, I suppose.
Rare, isn't it?
Kinda. I mean, like, I want to give some exceptions here. Like, it's not always easy to do that. Like, take control of your life, right? Because some people could be in very adverse situations where that may lead to their demise in some cases.
Definitely.
So it's more the case that for us, for those who are privileged, of course, we all have the space and the autonomy to do so. Then yes, take a stand. But I think for every person, they are the author of their own story. And I don't think many people give themselves the credit that they are due in terms of how much control they have of their own lives. If you don't like something, you can change it. You can take the risk associated, but you can change it and determine how your story is written. And not many people take that kind of understanding. Again, I don't know, maybe it's just because everything's so convenient, maybe to us who are, I guess, privileged enough to be in certain situations.
At that stage mentally, especially, because we can't be so harsh on everyone to say like, oh, you should just do this. Well, they might experience some sort of adversity or very low point, and then acknowledge like, I want my life to change for the better. Put these things in place.
I'm starting to understand how powerful the mental is and putting yourself in the right space for the right occasion. When you want to focus on something, you have your podcast, I have my other projects, right?
Yeah.
If you don't take away the distractions around you to put yourself in the right frame of mind to actually go ahead and make the change you want to see, then you'll never achieve it. And I feel like I'm gaining so much more. I'm learning every single day because I am starting to realize that time is short, we need to focus, put away the distractions, put yourself in the right mental state, and just like that, your brain becomes a sponge. And don't get bored about it as well. Because as you grow, many people get bored.
Completely agree. We can touch on adversity and how important do you think that is? Because we said about the environment. Example for myself, everyone's seen on Insta. I'm just listening to world music, like 8-hour world music. That's it. I'm just sitting there. Mum hates it. I'm surprised she hasn't even said anything yet. But 8 hours on loop, more or less. I'm not sitting there, whatever. But if I'm there and I'm doing something intense, intense work, that's there not because the world music, whatever. It's just the feeling. It makes me feel relaxed and very present. That I can see things clearly. How do you go about that, creating the correct environment for yourself to flourish in?
I personally do it either using music like yourself, but it's not necessarily the calm kind of music. I play kind of meaningful songs. Like a lot of my songs that I play when I want to focus, Hamilton, because that's just a jam I really like, and I kind of listen to those kind of songs and it gets me into the mood. Like there's this one tune in the musical called My Shot. I am not throwing away my shot, right? I wake up, I open the curtains when I hear that song and I let the words resonate within me. And that really empowers me for the day, right? And that gets you into the right mental frame.
It has the same effect, both music that we listen to. Even me, I'm not always listening to world music. Like certain moods, of course, different types of music, it makes you feel it that type of way. And that's why a lot of people, when they have their earphones in and they're just there, they're in that zone, they're very present, and that's the zone that we need to try and be in as often as we can to encourage growth, right? Because obviously we can touch upon people in your lives as well and say like, if you, if you do have people that are in your environment that are very asking 24/7 for things, not allowing you to focus on yourself, not causing that growth mindset, how do you think that affects you?
I mean, I guess it would
negatively, right? There's nothing more you can do.
I mean, it feels negative, certainly, and you know what? Sometimes, and it sucks to say this, you have to grit your teeth and just get through it. I mean, if it depends, right? If these are necessary questions and demands from people who you care about, you're going to do it regardless, even if it does inconvenience you, right? You just need to find and have the will to create the space necessary to get yourself in the right headspace. Because it's all about your own control, right? Yes, you have a lot of things that make it difficult, but what is life if not difficulty?
Completely agree.
So
life's difficult so we can embrace it and so we can become better, right? Do you think a lot of people struggle with getting to that place?
I feel like a lot of people do. Yeah, I feel like it's a big kind of... I don't know, it takes people a while to get there, and it's not necessarily because they are unable to, it's just that maybe they're not focusing on it. Maybe that's not their focus right now, and they're just reacting instead of just acting.
Survival mode again.
Precisely. Although I will say this about adversity. Quick, I remember looking on Instagram of all places, could you believe? I saw a quote that said adversity.
We love your quotes on Insta, man. Beautiful quotes every time. Everyone, you have to go and check that out now. At right there. Go look at his quotes.
I just try my best. I wanted to use
really good words,
as a tool to actually motivate people.
Yeah, completely the same again.
Right.
Yeah.
But I saw a quote that says adversity wakes up the genius within you. And that is really key. When you struggle with something, you become smarter. You start thinking, strategizing how to beat the problem, and then there you are, beating the problems consistently. Something
that you felt like you couldn't have done.
Precisely.
It's just matter of action, isn't it?
Precisely, and you do it already. What do you think revision's about? Like many people will be revising for an exam, a car test, something of the sort. When you get good, how do you think you get there? You struggle through the questions, and then you keep practicing. Every so often, every day, at the same time, consistency, and then all of a sudden, there you are, succeeding. It's a simple formula.
I just feel like we all know what to do. It's just about putting your brain in that headspace to understand how to do it. And that is, as we said, shortening the refractory period, making sure there's an environment where you're very present, very, you're going to do your best you can today, because you're not thinking about other things, the past traumas, the past problems you've dealt with. And now you're ready to look forward and fall in love with your future. I say that a lot, isn't it? I'm in love with my future. Anytime I'm even in a situation like, am I going to sit here for an hour and watch TV, or am I going to go and do something that my future self will thank you for?
Yeah.
Before, I might have debated. Now I know what I'm doing. I'm just like let's go. Like, I have that one in my mind, 5 seconds. I'll be like, okay, cool, rest for now. Just go now. Just don't think about it. Let's work.
I kind of do the same thing.
It's the same thing, isn't it? It's just like you see yourself in that comfy situation. Okay, so what am I accomplishing at the moment? What's my future self gonna thank you for? How am I doing a workout? Am I going forwards with my podcast, education, a qualification of some sort, or am I gonna be remembered for watching 1 hour on a Netflix series, or am I gonna be remembered for creating my legacy and putting that time in today? That's all it comes down to.
Exactly, which is why I don't watch Netflix so often, or don't watch movies, right?
You just feel like it's kind of wasted time. Obviously, sometimes it's good to relax, but you have to earn it. That's what I tell people.
Actually, I kind of thought the same kind of person.
Tell me more.
Like, I tend to actively avoid watching like Netflix and stuff of the sort, and movies, because when you're sitting there for a long time and you're watching your TV, right, and it's all great and stuff watching all these wonderful shows and films and everything, but it always kicks me in the gut when I think about how much time has been lost. Especially
I hear you with this.
Like when you watch it. Like my weakness is anime, right? So when I watch an anime and I see like half my day go, like it goes from midnight to sunrise, I feel like an abject failure because of that exact waste of time.
Wow, completely agree. Two things to complacency. That when you're relaxed or doing that short-term instant gratification, that happiness, that not putting in the hard work for something long-term, you feel. In the end, yes, good in the moment, but after it ends, you feel bad. You feel.
Sorry, I swore.
you feel so disheartened in yourself that you really think like, did I really do that? Yeah. I mean, we can talk about sexual experiences. I mean, same thing. Like, did I really do that? So the second point I'll say is like not feeling like a failure. not beating yourself up too much, because we're all human, we're all gonna make mistakes. Even the other day, I spent maybe 30 minutes and 45 minutes, an hour doing something where I should have probably been working out. I still did my workout, I still did it, but that extra hour, and people are probably thinking, what, you don't give time to enjoy yourself? I do, but I have to earn it. I feel bad sometimes, and I start getting in my head like, oh, you know, am I gonna? You feel like you can spiral all of a sudden, right? Oh, I've done this for an hour, maybe, you know, what about another hour, and then over a long time you're thinking what? But I think with us two, you know, when we feel like that, we say, cool, I probably shouldn't have done that, but I'm not too hard on myself because I'm human. Look how far I've come.
Precisely.
Unnegotiables every day that you said. I have a list. First thing, there's so many things I do. I have to do like some form of exercise. I have to pray or make sure I'm grateful. These sort of things. Make sure I've done my best.
Yeah.
One of the things is not to beat myself up over it, and look how far I've come on my journey. See what I mean?
I completely agree with you. I mean, myself, I said failure to describe myself. When that happens, it happens rarely. That kind of level of wasting time.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, you know,
You're
I do
human.
feel a little bit disappointed at least. You
Yeah.
know? That was me being extreme just for emphasis. But genuinely, like,
completely agree.
It does eat at you, but a little bit. It eats at me a little bit, and then afterwards just get back onto it.
Because you deal with it.
Yeah.
And again, if you focus so much on it and say, oh, why did I do that? And you spend the whole day doing that, the next thing you know, you spiraled and you've gone down this rabbit hole of your whole day is gone now and you're not present because you're thinking about something. Never be too harsh on yourself. I mean, have your standards. That's my advice to anyone. Have your standards. Understand, you know, where you're going, and do the hard work, of course, especially when you're not feeling like it. But make sure that you don't beat yourself up over something, because we're all human and we're all gonna make mistakes, and we'll continue to do that to the end of the time.
Precisely.
Don't you think?
All we can aim for is to basically limit how many mistakes we can make, and you know, it's not easier said than done, obviously. It's just, you know, it's recognizing that. It's recognizing the fact that you aren't perfect. You are human. You will make mistakes, and you will, just as equally, bounce back from them.
Beautifully said, man. It's so important to be present. As we said in it, the predictable past will soon become the predictable future.
Precisely.
So, you know, over a long time, if you're still living in the past and, you know, you're actively having your mind and going over these previous things, you think your future is going to magically change like that. It's the same thing.
Everyone knows that time is limited. Everyone knows that, you know, they need to focus and get this thing done, right? But then they think about the past and what happened back there. And that's all well and good for some limited purposes. But I feel like many people make the error of just living in the past and not focusing on the current. And that's all you have from day to day is the current. You cannot live in the past. You live now. Spend that time wisely.
Until you deal with it, face your demons head on.
Precisely.
Understand introspection. Really ask yourself the difficult questions. Nothing will change.
And don't run away from them.
And that's the harsh reality.
Don't run away from the questions that you ask yourself during introspection. If you're saying, oh, why do I feel like this? Oh, it's because he did this. No. If you actually take into consideration, why am I upset about that? Why is that important to me? Right there, you started going into the serious.
But a lot of people would argue like it's very uncomfortable, that feeling.
Of course it is. That's the point.
And you know people don't want to feel uncomfortable or on edge. Tough. Tough. I would say as blunt as him, but it causes growth, adversity.
Yeah.
How you become better, what defines you is the hard times, the hard moments, the difficult experiences where you can't see a way out. Because once you do, you sit there and say, I was in that position, I could not see a way out, and I came out on the other side even stronger. Exactly. The difficult situations, the things that you're scared to do. Yeah. People don't like change. Let's talk about that more.
People don't like change, and it could be for many reasons, I suppose.
Yeah, why would you say? Do you think they're scared?
It could be. It could be fear. It could be the fact that change could actually adversely affect them, or they just think it's not worthwhile and it's a waste of time. It could be other things entirely separate from the goal, like jealousy, or they just don't like you as a person. Yeah. So anything, even if it's a good point, they won't take into consideration. If
I was gonna say myself, I would say, you know, I didn't like change because it was something different. And before, I was never this version of myself. Now I'm very open-minded. I like, you know, hear new experiences, try new things. Before, tried and true. That's what I knew. Yeah. Everyone's like that. I remember even my dad saying, like, at a time when he was younger, he was scared of change. And so many people are scared of change, or they see something different. When something's different to them, they think it's bad. Why is something different to what you believe in or how you live your life bad.
Because they see it as it's an unknown. You don't know.
There
the
you go.
future is intangible.
So people want answers.
They want answers, don't they? But, I mean, change is really scary to lots of people because it is uncertain. You don't know if that change is going to be good or bad. You don't know exactly how that's going to affect you because you're not there yet. So it's more, again, your mind kind of playing with you and your emotions regarding that future, that change and how it will impact you that point onwards. I think it's also, maybe you touched upon it, this is tried and true, this is what we like doing, it's consistent, we like to do it this way, we don't want to change.
That routine.
It's a routine, but I feel like humans, just in general, are creatures of habit. So why don't we create a habit? Why don't we create the habit of trying to change things for the better?
Completely agree. It's just it's a speechless mic drop. Like, it's just lit. It's so true though. It's so true. It's literally like as I said with myself. Like, I thought change was bad, and just because it's something different or unknown doesn't mean it's bad on the other side. Or the fact that's why I respect anyone that has the balls to say something and follow through. Like, they want to make a podcast and they actually do it.
Yeah.
I respect you no matter how many views you get, no matter what, because you knew that, this could make my life better. I could improve from this and I'm brave enough to do it. Yeah. Even with a girl, if you see a girl on the road, how many people don't go talk to her?
I'm part of that club. Like, it's so nerve-wracking, right? But those guys who are able to go up and obviously succeed in that fashion, or the girls who do so too, right, and succeed, they're legendary for that because
I was in that category, but not anymore.
He's better than that.
I have a few people to tell the story on some of the things they've seen, but I'll quickly say recently, come to football now. Went with a few people. Yeah. No, obviously don't say names, but went with a few people. This girl at one Albanian go 5 seconds, bruv. Like, give me some like I was like what? Very nice as well. Okay, cool. Went over now. I ended up started doing press ups in front of her. Imagine in like Leighton High Street, bro. Started doing press ups, just like very like. Women don't understand that it's actually a very nerve-wracking thing in it for a lot of guys. That they're in their head.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it because she's beautiful. I'm trying to get things, whatever. That's just a bonus. I'm doing it because it's my demons.
Yeah.
I'm facing my demons head on because I know. Every single guy looks at this nice girl and don't say anything. I'm gonna go and say something. I don't care if you laugh at me, if you it goes nowhere, or even if we get married. It doesn't. I'm very indifferent about it. I've disassociated from the emotional response. I do it because I know that this is adversity. This is difficult. This is a very difficult thing to do. No one does it, but I'm gonna do it because I'm gonna face my demons head on, and I know that feeling after that I've done it. Even if I've been rejected, fam, 9 out of 10 approaches, a stat for you, like 9 out of 10 approaches to someone you meet, is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Understand that you're not even gonna get a number. They might not even engage with you. Cool. You're destined for failure, right? And even when I fell, I'm just like, I feel so good. I feel so present, bro. You understand?
I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I put myself in very difficult situations just to see what I can do about it. Just to see how I can rise above it.
Definitely. Set yourself goals that are so difficult that, you struggle. Even if you've done like part of it, imagine you say to yourself, do 50 press-ups right now. Probably no one's really going to do correct form and everything.
Yeah,
no one's probably not going to do it, but, how far can you push yourself? How strong can you become? It's beautiful. It's beautiful, that feeling of being in love with your future and knowing how amazing can you come.
As soon as you said that, a memory just kind of revived itself in my mind.
Tell me.
Basically, it was again, it's on Instagram of all places. But basically, I remember seeing something. How people learn a skill, right? Especially in school. Take yourself back to the school days, right? You're learning something. So like, I want the school to be over. Oh, why am I doing this? How long is this gonna take? Yeah. And stuff. But when you start getting into it and getting more accustomed to the skill, facing those adversities, putting yourself in the difficult positions and seeing the results as a result of you learning the skill or doing the thing that you wanted to do, you stop asking when is it going to be over. You start asking how far you can go.
I know exactly what you're talking about as well. I think they said that in that video. Completely agree. It's not it's not the thing of when am I gonna get there. It's the thing of, okay, this is normal now. How far can I go? And you're not really looking at everyday progress, even with working out. I'm at the point where I'll just do it. I'm not really looking at how my body's changing or whatever. I'm just doing it because I'm addicted to it. I can't stop doing it. This is my life now. I'm probably going to be working out in 50 years' time if I can. If I can move, I'll do it. Do you understand? Because that feeling, that mindset, I completely agree. Once you get into, you're constantly in that adversity situations and you're constantly growing and pushing yourself to the limit. You don't ask yourself, when is it going to be over? Or how am I going to be? You just enjoy it. And then it's that fulfillment. Like I'm smiling because it's beautiful. Literally, tell me more quickly.
It's more just, I don't know. It's testing yourself, like using this newfound power. I feel like we undervalue, I don't call these abilities. To be able to put yourself in a habit where you're learning, growing, getting better,
and to see yourself.
That in of itself is a human power, and I feel like we have superheroes that are obviously powerful. Superman, for example. The normal person's power, make it a habit to get better.
That's beautifully said.
Now, how amazing could it be if you just make it a habit to improve? We are already creatures of habit, so why not take advantage of that and see your life as it, as you continue in life in general, but unfold before you as a better situation, just being better.
That's would you say that's your purpose of life? That's mine.
It's my driving force for every day. It's like
exactly the same with that. A 22-year-old finds out what life is about. Literally, yeah.
Genuinely, I feel myself always asking, what more can I do? I ask everyone.
Exactly
I even ask my parents, do you feel like sometimes you're not doing enough? And my parents also feel the same. I don't ever feel like I'm doing enough. I need to do more.
Exactly the same.
And it drives you into new heights that your wildest imaginations could never. That's what I'm going to say, basically. And
I think that's why we resonate so well mentally, because we're just at similar stages of life. We know what we want. We think the same. Like we wake up and we're like, cool, how can we be better? Other people wake up and what's on Netflix? Let me just go through my phone. Oh, I lifted something today. Whatever, cool. Everyone, we're not judging anyone. We're at different places, but I think we're both genuinely really happy people. And I can honestly say that we are. There's no cap here. You can see the vibe, how we carry ourselves, the things that we're happy just because we understand our purpose and where we're going, just to be better.
And we also know what we have and what's valuable. Being able to cut through the mud and to see clarity and to touch truth as many times as you
especially
can.
in this society, this world, it's crazy to do something like that.
Again, another superpower. Clarity. Take what it is.
Yeah. Alright, so beautiful words. Really enjoyed our time together. Just I know you've been here before, you know how this goes. Final message, motivation, anything you want to share. Obviously I'll start, give you some time to think about that. I'd say thank you for everyone for supporting, man. It means a lot. This is going to be here for a long time. I know since last time you came with you, there's new equipment there. A bright light. There's a lot of things behind the scene that you don't see. Editing styles. I've come such a long way. My first podcast, I think, or promo was released in October. It's nearly been a year. Coming up to here, 10 months, 11 months. And I just smile at it, innit? It's beautiful, and I'm so excited. Give me another year. Give me 2 years. I can't wait. In terms of wisdom, I'll say do something today that your future self will thank you for. I've had this close to my heart for a long time. I use it. It comes into my mind every single day. Do something that matters, that in a year time, in 2 years time, your future self is going to say thank you for loving. You love yourself when you invest in your future and fall in love with your future. So just try and be as productive as you can with your time, because limited. Beautiful words, isn't it? Atuli?
Quite good.
Can you match those words?
Follow, but perhaps I think, my motto is probably just try and be better, try and grow, and try and realize the truth and the world that you see in your mind. Make it a reality and take yourself to that level, because you can do it. You need to believe in yourself and have that faith.
The potential.
But I also want to leave you with practical advice, right? You don't run a marathon in a day. You start in steps. The same as can be said for your goals, right? So make a to-do list. 3, 5, maybe 10 items. and just cross them off as you complete them. As you'll see, things will change around you as you have that organization. Those unnegotiables that you have, if you're able to hit them consistently, and to just level up in general, you'll see your world change before you. And just before you even realize it, bam, you're at the place where you wanted to be.
You know what? Let me just come over when Cameron's still recording. Hug, man. Let's go. Oh, thank you. After it, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I'm actually kind of crying too. I can feel it.
Around beef. Like, they're like kids, these countries. They think sucking America's dick, and then basically you got UK, America's side when you're like Robin's UK, America's like Batman.